If you're just joining us, let's pick up on this story. 13 South Africans are now infected with the coronavirus. The Western Cape confirmed its first case yesterday. Others are in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. All the new patients recently travelled overseas. Now, in studio, let's welcome Dr. Angelique Coetzee. She is the chairperson of the South African Medical Association. Doc, good morning to you. I want to start off with the headline that is contained on the front page of the Business Day, and there it is. South Africa's 6 new virus cases, in inverted commas, imported from Europe. Does that worry you?
Yes, it is worrying, and this is what we are seeing worldwide. This is not unique to South Africa that we're now getting cases in from Europe, as Italy also is part of Europe. But the rest of Europe is also having their own crisis with this virus. As it is, the World Medical Association, we're supposed to have our first yearly meeting in Portugal in a month's time, and that's also been cancelled yesterday because of the coronavirus scare. So it is quite alarming for us, but there's no ways that we can screen people who is not ill coming into the country.
So what is the solution, Doc? And I ask you this question. This morning, we're running a story about the United States, which has decided to ban travel from Europe, at least for a month, because the President, Donald Trump, is saying Europe is part of the reason why this virus is spreading. Should we implement travel bans in this country right now, with the 6 cases that are now confirmed, completely divorced, by the way, from the initial 10 that we saw from Italy? It's
extremely difficult. From an economic point of view, it's going to hit us very hard if we ban all travel from Europe or any other country that's affected with the virus. For now, what we need to do is we need to alert our people out there. We need to do self-containment, or we need to contain the virus as much as possible with the infected people so that it doesn't spread to the communities. And we also need to make sure that if your company travels overseas a lot to do work, make sure whether that work is really necessary, whether it can't be done from South Africa without traveling. In the end, if we have a really huge outbreak which we cannot contain, we will have to stop all these measurements and ban people from traveling.
But you see, it's quite important what you've just said, because you almost repeating what was said here last night. Someone sat here, medical experts sat here and said that if there is a spread of this virus in the country, we are a third world country.
Yes.
There is going to be difficulty to stem it because we are not going to be able to implement an effective lockdown. Do you agree with that statement?
I agree with that statement, but you cannot put South Africa on lockdown yet. It is not going to help us. But remember, we are banning everyone coming from the airports or put a lockdown there. What do we do with our borders? What prevent anyone coming from Europe, landing in Zimbabwe, and traveling from there across our borders to not be able to go through our airport system?
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
You mentioned Zimbabwe. I saw last night headlines suggesting that there is panic in that country as a result of the coronavirus cases that are being confirmed there. There's also worry in Lesotho. There is political instability there. What happens in South Africa with its 2 neighbors that are perhaps the most vulnerable countries right now, if they have such an issue in their hands?
Well, SAMA's always been of the opinion that it's not going to be our airports that's going to affect the nation, but it's going to come from our borders, where people will simply cross the border and bring the virus into South Africa. And the problem with that is that the virus coming through our borders might go to our townships and to our informal settlements. And that's, I think, where South Africa is going to have trouble if we do not contain
What do the
virus.
measures look like in the land borders? Why are you so concerned about land borders?
There is no measurements currently at the borders, as far as SAMA is aware of, and that's a huge concern. Everyone is monitoring the airports, the airport systems, and we can keep track of passengers coming via the other countries through our airport systems. How do we track from our borders, as you correctly said, from Lesotho, from Zimbabwe, from Mozambique? How are we going to make sure that they don't bring the virus in? And that's a huge concern. So we can go on lockdown and we can ban international travel as much as we want to. But South Africans and Africa always finds a way to get what they want.
All right. Dr. Angelique Coetzee, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. She's from the South African Medical Association.